Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is a progress update on this tree. In my set of Scots Pine, this is classed as the small one to differentiate from the others, and this was collected earlier this year. So before we go any further, if you want to see what this tree looked like last time, which was about 5-6 weeks ago, something like that, there's an info card coming up in the top right hand corner which will take you back to the last time we had a look at this tree. Okay, coming up now. Right, if you've been away, welcome back. If you haven't, then you're picking up at the end of the story instead of at the beginning. But it's a bit of a trick on my part, I suppose. If you did go away to watch that video, the first thing that video does is put up an info card back to the beginning of the story. So if you've got plenty of time on your hands, you may well have come through 3 videos to get to the end of this one when we get there. So I'll keep this one short anyway. Last time we looked at these, we had candles to discuss that weren't open, and therefore not a lot of needles on the tree, and a lot of the old needles were falling off at the time. I was picking them off all the way through the video, and I'll still be doing it for a while yet. But most of the needle drop has now finished, and the candles have pushed on quite nicely and opened up to give quite a reasonable cover of candles, of needles, which means this tree can photosynthesize quite successfully now. In addition to that, that will have given it some strength, which in turn should have produced some reasonable roots. We won't know till we get it out of the pot, and that's certainly not going to happen this year. I want everything to just stay as it is until we get to the spring, and then we'll think about, because the first thing is, because this was potted up in a hurry, it's an oval pot and it's not at the right angle in the pot, it's all wrong, and I'm not sure I want to keep it in this pot anyway. We shall see. Now, one thing I have noticed is that the wire here is biting in quite bad, so I'm going to take that off. I won't do it now on film because I want to keep this short, but given the amount of time that wire's been on there, that's actually bitten in quite badly. Yeah, quite bad. On the trunk, I think it's okay on the branches. Yeah, it's okay on the branches, although it does seem to be biting in there a bit. Now, when it starts to bite in like this on a tree that hasn't been wired that long, you've got choices. If you leave it on there, you'll get wire scars. Now, on a pine, that's not that bad because it's going to end up being a gnarly old trunk anyway. Yeah, so it'll sort of grow itself out, if you know what I mean. Whereas on something like a maple, it would look awful. But nonetheless, I think I'll take the wire off, which might mean the branches will spring back because that wire hasn't been on that long. Yeah, in which case it might need rewiring again, which I probably won't bother this year. I'll probably wait till next year. But the idea now is that we've got our growth from our new candles, and we've got some greenery, and that can be left now until next year. And then next year we can have a look and see what's going to happen, because in theory at the end of each of these candles will be at least 1 bud, and if the tree gets some vigour there might be 2 or even 3 at the end of each of these new candles, at which point we can do candle selection and or candle removal to get back budding, but not now. I just want to let this grow now as it seems to want to. So yeah, it's coming along. This silly long straight bit here is probably destined to come off, and this may well become the new leader, whatever. But, you know, again, decisions to be made in the future. But the first job now is to get this wire off, because it is biting in. And then we'll see what happens to the branches when it comes off. I suspect they'll just go boing, and after a week they'll look exactly as they were when I collected it. But as I said, we can have another go at wiring it next year. Probably the best time to wire would be autumn, because the tree's going to finish its growth spurt for the year as it heads into winter, and its growth as a pine will slow right down. It won't stop. They do tick over in the winter, can form buds and things, but they finish their spurt. So in theory, the expansion of the branches would have finished by then. So maybe we'll reapply some wire sort of October time. Well, that depends on what happens when I take this off, of course. So anyway, just a quick update, and it's coming along. It's coming along. There's a bit of inverse taper, but as a yanked out of the ground tree, it's not too bad. It can be worked with. You know, I mean, I haven't even wired a lot of this stuff, so there's some stuff still to go. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, it's coming along nicely. And after the complaints about not being able to see what I'm doing without a backdrop, I will use the backdrop from now on. The problem is, at the moment, it's early doors. It's not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet. I want to get my work done before it gets warm again. So I will use the backdrop. The downside is, obviously, it cuts the light down quite dramatically. And as a consequence of that, I will electronically enhance the lighting, which I can do on my video editing. But the consequence of artificially brightening it up, it does alter the colour very, very slightly. But yeah, so be it. And there we go. A quick update on that one. It's coming along. I'm quite pleased with this, considering how it was collected and what it looked like when I brought it home. It's coming along. Right, see you next time. Thanks for dropping by. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, it would be nice if you did so. This is a growing channel. It hasn't been going long, and you know, the more the merrier, as they say. And you don't have to switch notifications on. You can subscribe without doing that if you don't want the emails and things. But yeah, and also the old thumbs up helps the channel be visible to YouTube. So see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.